This is Innovation Connected, coming to you from the World Economic Forum in Davos, a podcast by Tenity.
My name is Max. I'm a venture partner for Tenity, and I would like to welcome my esteemed guests, Emma and Anna. Welcome. Please, Anna, can you do a quick introduction, what you did so far, and what is your current role?
Thank you. Yes, my name is Anna Mahony, and I'm founder and CEO of Addition Wealth.
Emma, can you also give a quick intro about yourself?
Yes, I'm Emma Wheeler. I'm head of the Women's Wealth Programme at UBS, and I'm responsible for a programme that better serves the financial needs of women. I'm also responsible for the UBS Female Founders Programme.
Okay. Can you describe a bit more what does it mean? What is your day-to-day job?
So the biggest focus of what I do actually is training our client advisors to have the right kind of conversations with female clients. So we've been very focused for a decade now on this growing ownership and control of wealth by women. And that requires a different kind of conversation because we know that women think about investing differently to men.
Can you give us an example about that? What is the different advice you give?
Yes. So we know that women think about wealth in terms of life stages and what they can achieve with their wealth at those different stages. So an approach to financial planning around goals, setting goals to achieve what you want to achieve with your life, if you like. And the other area is around the kind of advice they like. They really appreciate holistic, trusted advice. So this is more than men. Having a trusted relationship with an advisor is really important. Mm-hmm. And then the third key area that's important is around a values-based approach. So understanding what your values are and a client's goals, because we know that women tend to invest with an impact and purpose lens.
So how did that change over the last 5 years? The approach in the bank, and also can you say that what kind of, let's say, successes you had in that space?
So we have been publishing research now since January 2017 around women as investors. Mm-hmm. So we've really drawn on the insights that we've learnt. And, that has led to this rollout of a program to drive behaviour change in our front office to really ensure that our advisors are, fulfilling the financial needs of our female clients. And we know that 45% of our clients are women now. So, we've seen significant growth. It's been, a really important focus for us as a business.
Okay. Maybe one, really like what you said about that before we started the podcast. I mean, what has changed? I mean, what was the approach in the past? And what is the new approach UBS has on that?
So the approach in the past has been very male focused, and that has been around transactions and investment advice. Mm-hmm. And for women, the approach needs to be more relational. So understanding what actually is happening in their wider life and how we can support them to have those conversations in their families to start to really take control of their investments. And part of that is how we're supporting with maybe guidance around financial parenting. Women are often pivotal to, setting good money values and habits within their children. And also the more human dimensions of wealth that are important to women. So there's very challenging conversations and also the conversations around the purpose of wealth more broadly across the family. That women are often pivotal to.
Okay, thank you. Anna, did you have such experiences too in the past, negative experiences on the service from a bank or from a financial advisor?
It's a great question. So one of the reasons why I started Addition Wealth was because when my parents were divorced, I was helping my mom understand, okay, here's where we are now. How can we think about your future? Where might you like to go? And it's really interesting to hear the comments that Emma says because I experienced them, even though I'm not as familiar with some of those statistics. But we have seen in our business that there are different ways that people need to be serviced than traditionally they have been. So going back to my story, we wanted some help thinking about what might the future look like, what holistically needs to be true. To your point, Emma, how much money needs to be earned, how much can you spend in retirement, what does that mean for the next X number of decades when you really don't know what that big number, an important number, will be. And we found that there was a gap in the market where we wanted to engage and have help with someone, but we weren't able to find maybe that right relationship where somebody said, we'll work with you and do it in a way that made sense for us. And so part of the reason why I started the company was because I wanted to find a way for more of the mass market to be able to get access to really fantastic financial expertise, even if you don't qualify for the threshold of the fantastic client that a UBS individual might be. And so what we do at Addition Wealth is we service as an employee financial wellness benefit. So companies pay us, and then we are a free offering for their employees. We have advisors who act as fiduciaries, digital tools that individuals can use if they'd like to self-serve, and then we also do a lot of community events. And we've seen that a lot of people enter the platform through the community events because they might not feel confident enough to go straight to speaking with a financial advisor if they don't know what are the questions that I might ask. And some people love digital self-service tools, but for some people, again, that's overwhelming. And so we've seen that we can oftentimes get people to one of those other paths by starting with a webinar or a workshop or a community event. And so I think there's a lot of room for improved systems for how you can help people work through the financial challenges that we have. I think the traditional model is very static and has a specific way of doing it, but I don't think it works for everyone. And I think there's a lot of room to provide a more flexible way of providing people answers to the questions that they need, that they have.
Why do you think it is so static?
Where or why? Sorry.
Why it is static?
Well, perhaps because, and Emma's probably more of an expert than I am, but perhaps because one specific group has been focused on in the past, right? And so now we're seeing this huge generational transfer of wealth. I think people are recognizing that, at least in the U.S., I believe the statistic is that at some point in their lives, about 80% of women will manage their own money, and many of them previously have not. And so I think the industry dynamics that we're seeing are shifting. I think there's more technology and tools that enable a more flexible offering. I think when you look at, you engage with someone, you manage all of their wealth, maybe you do have a deep interaction with an advisor, that is a fantastic model for certain people. But if you want to think about the broader masses, you need more scalable systems in order to make the economics work to be able to provide that. Yes. And so we actually spend a lot of time on what can we deliver through technology, what can we deliver through a more scaled group offering. If we do have someone engage with a financial advisor, how do we actually leverage the latest technology so that individual spends their time on what is the most high value way of engaging, not expensive human time on information gathering or things that maybe there's a faster and more magical experience for.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you say something more about your story? I mean, how from the idea, from the problem until you really started the company, and also the first, let's say, months, how that was?
Sure. So my background was in consumer finance. I worked for the private sector as an investor, investing in consumer finance startups. I worked for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in DC, and then I worked at Uber for 6 years. And so I had always really loved how much the power of unlocking someone's financial decisions or having them maximize the value of the money that they have really enabled them to improve their life. And early in my career, I began to recognize in a lot of different ways that most of the people who can stretch the value of each next dollar tend to have the most wealth. I didn't know how to go about fixing it, but then when I went to Uber, I saw how you could use scalable organizations and technology to make things more accessible to people that were previously unaffordable. Access to a private ride, delivery of anything at your doorstep. And so when I was thinking about what to do next, I very quickly went back to this problem of, how can we help more people work through their personal finances? The statistics in the US about the stress that people have financially, the lack of savings that people have, it's a massive challenge. But I then said, okay, could I apply some of these learnings that I just had over the last few years and try to solve this problem? And so for me, the hardest part of the journey was really the decision to give it a shot. And from there, I think it's been just like most other jobs where you say, okay, what are the 3 biggest challenges that we have in the next 3 months, and how do I go about solving them?
Okay, so at the beginning you had doubts if you should really go into that.
I think it's it's always a risky endeavor to say, should I leave my job and my paycheck and my income to try to do something that is hard? And as Emma's research shows, it's hard for females to get funded. There are lots of barriers along the way. And so I think, it took some courage. I think many, many women are capable of starting highly successful companies. But, it was that first step that was the hardest part. The rest of it has just been figuring it out along the way.
Okay, so it's the system, or let's say the ecosystem, should push more for female founders.
I think so, especially given the nature of the needs that women have that are untapped today. There are so many challenges that women have, or untapped opportunities in terms of how they can think about their financial health or wealth, or their physical health, or different consumer needs that they have. I think it is a massive untapped opportunity, and there are so many capable women that can go about helping address those needs while building very profitable, successful companies.
Yeah. Emma, what would you say, what is the landscape of female founders?
The landscape is, there are plenty of women setting up businesses, but the challenge is around getting funding, as you know, this extraordinary funding gap that we called it in 2021 when we published our paper from our Chief Investment Office. Mm-hmm. And, the challenge in there is that, women build very successful companies, and the data shows that they outperform. So, and also there's this, the gap is that only 2% of VC capital goes to female-led businesses, and it's even less for women of colour. And 2%, it's actually not a funding gap, is it? It's a chasm. Yeah. Let's be plain about this. It doesn't make sense, and we know that up to 3 to 6%, the global GDP would grow by up to 3 to 6% if female entrepreneurs were invested in equally to male entrepreneurs. So it's an economic no-brainer. It's still just not happening at a fast enough rate.
Did you see changes over the last years? You do the report. Did you see any growth in the number, or at a very low level, or is it just static?
Well, I think certainly the numbers of female entrepreneurs are growing.
Yes.
The funding is not particularly growing if you look across the world. There are some positive indicators, but a lot of that is what's happening in the venture world. But I think there are some interesting new investment opportunities for founders to really look at, including the whole world of family offices. There's private capital out there. Yes. And, I'm increasingly seeing women come into family offices and they're applying their own gender lens. And, based on the very premise that we all invest in what we know, they are likely to invest in companies that produce the goods and services that they understand, and they're more likely to invest in a female-led business.
Yeah. Does the bank also support that? So via a fund or via programs like Female Founders?
So we have our Female Founders program, which is a global awards program, and also an accelerator program. Mm-hmm. And of course, Anna won the UBS Female Founder Award in 2023 and has been part of our accelerator program too. And in that program, we give the founders investor readiness training. We bring them into the UBS network. They are supported by one of our client advisors, and they're given mentorship. We also give them a lot of branding support on our social media channels. So by association with UBS, I'm told that's very popular and supportive on their journey.
Wow.
I'd love to chime in because I think the work that Emma and her team are doing makes a massive difference for female-led organizations. There's the attention that they're bringing to the program. There's the research that they're bringing to the market. I think you have a presence in many rooms where you can influence decision makers at the highest level to start applying a gender lens and going out of their way. Even for myself, when I won the award, it gave me a credibility in market that was fantastic. And I heard other large-scale organizations, congratulate me, mention things to me. It helped me close some commercial partnerships, think about more investment opportunities. And so there is a lot of intangible things that are a bit harder to measure, but that are truly fantastic. I think Emma and Jill and many of the other women that are doing this are constantly thinking about what are other ways we can support these companies in terms of being successful in market, because the funding is part of it, and it is a huge issue and one that needs to be addressed. But also, once you're up and running, you need access to clients and, to Emma's point, brand growth and hiring a great team and continuing to show success on multiple factors. And I found that the UBS team is really doing the small steps that can make a really big difference, because they're taking the time to do events like these and invest in women like me. And I sincerely appreciate that.
No. Can you talk more about how did you hear about the program? Like, you get an ad, a friend recommended to you. How did you get to know about it? And also, how did it start? Did you send an email? You applied? That, I think, for the audience can be quite interesting to get such insights.
It's a great point, actually, because there are, so I think I heard about it online. Some of my investors mentioned it to me. They have a great program where you can be nominated. I think you can nominate yourself. They put it on social channels. So I heard about it through word of mouth. And I think many of the fantastic accelerators, startups, and women's initiatives are oftentimes known that way. So if there is a way to make them more visible in market, I think it's helpful. But they have I appreciated that. I think the form wasn't too extensive, but it was clear on what they wanted to know for evaluation purposes. And so it's been an amazing opportunity for myself and for Edition Wealth.
Okay, and then maybe you can do a small description about the program. So you applied, they took you on, they liked what you sent in the form, and then what happened then?
That's right. So I think the program has a few components. One is the application. They bring together all of the female founders. So I think there's a fantastic network that you can make with the other women who are going through similar trajectories. And there are so many fantastic female founders that want to support one another. It's been one of the best parts of my journey, has been meeting these other women, and you all have played a role in introducing me to other women globally, actually, which has been truly fantastic. Emma mentioned that there's an accelerator program, which covers a number of topics, but also support and how to think about fundraising and investment and getting to the next round. So that's been, that was very helpful and opened a lot of doors, provide the knowledge and know-how that can be really hard to figure out, because you can't Google search that or ask ChatGPT and get those types of answers or introductions and network. And then I'll just say that I think there's also this horsepower behind the scenes where Emma and her team, they just make things happen. And I really like to call that out, because I think in life, and especially as an entrepreneur, it's the planting of the seeds and the small steps that maybe one day will or not grow. And so I actually really admire you as an entrepreneur as well, because you're building this program, and those types of efforts are not easy, but they make a huge difference in the outcomes.
Wow.
It helps that I work for a business that embraces innovation.
Yes.
So, but I'm almost blushing. No more.
Maybe Emma, you can say more about the program, also some numbers. How many did apply? How many can go to the program? Is it online? Is it on site? Maybe give us some insights about that.
Yes. So the awards program, that is specifically focused on fintech and enterprise tech entrepreneurs, because we pull a jury together, including people from within UBS, and we believe that it needs to be aligned to our business. So we can obviously judge more effectively if we understand how it could relate to us, or we could bring it into our business. And that kicks off in September. We have an awards an opening ceremony online. We broadcast on LinkedIn, live on LinkedIn, and then the process kicks off, and we work with amazing VC partners like yourselves, So we use your networks and also our client advisor networks to really drive applications. And then we also go live onto social media through our group-wide channels, UBS channels, to bring the applications in. And we have consecutively over the last 4 years actually, had well over 100 applications from about 25 countries across the world. So we're really unearthing some amazing talent, and we keep in touch with them. And then the 10 finalists from the program they have to do a pitch to the VCs and our jury, and that happens in November time, and then we announce the winner in December, and that's another online award ceremony.
Okay.
And then the 10 finalists are invited to join Project Female Founder, which is our accelerator program that kicks off in April and runs across the year. And we have an alumni now of about 250 founders. So this year that will be our 4th year of the accelerator. We're very excited about working with our partners on that this year, and really, bringing on some new founders. But last year we had 78 founders from across the world as part of that.
Well,
I think we had about 70 of our client advisors also who mentor them. And I think we had about 50 VC mentors or people who come to speak, to give advice. And actually one of our founders, they also do a pitch as part of the investor readiness training program to friendly VCs. So it's a very safe environment for them. It's a brilliant way for them to learn. And I have to say, if they do one pitch practice and then they 2 weeks later do another pitch session, and to see the change, having embraced the feedback that they've had is really phenomenal. And then we communicate with them on a quarterly basis. We have calls. We bring specialists in from UBS and from the venture world, investors, to share expertise and guide. And then we have a newsletter, so we're constantly in touch with them. And I think, to Anna's point, the global nature of the program is really beneficial, because obviously, there are connections across the world for those who want to scale their businesses into other regions.
Yes.
And we can also support with that, through our own venture ecosystems.
Do you see a concentration by any regions from the past, or are there regions where you would like to have more female founders?
We have 2 cohorts because of the time zone and the conversations that we have. They're all run online, of course, but we have a cohort in APAC, which also includes Australia now, and then the rest of the world. And we have fairly equal numbers of founders, so we make sure that we, give founders from across the world the opportunity. I would say some of the standout countries, obviously the US, Canada, and the UK, Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are bringing together founders from across EMEA, APAC, the Americas.
And for me, that's been really incredible, actually. It's because most of the accelerators or founders that I've met have been within, for me, the US market. But with the other founders in this cohort, we've been able to hop on a Zoom and exchange really practical advice. Maybe somebody that lives in Asia wants to tap into the US venture market, and I can quickly say, okay, help me understand what you're looking for, what you're targeting, and give them a list of a handful of VCs that I know fit the bill and provide introductions. That's really simple for me to do. I've had conversations with other founders where I've said, okay, if I go to London or to Zurich, how do you think I should maximize the opportunity? And they give me their advice as well. And so it's been, I think there's a really interesting unlock of the partnership across the various founder community that maybe we should capture better, because I do think we're helping move capital in interesting ways and share global insights and perspectives and networks that'll help each of us build our businesses better.
Yeah, like an alumni network from a business school.
Yeah,
technically, right? Okay. We are here at the forum. So why did you come to the forum? What was your, let's say, idea to come here? was it the UBS or was it sorry, let's go one step back. We need to. So what was the reason you were coming to the forum?
Well, I've always admired the work that happens at the World Economic Forum, and the fact that individuals from different parts of society come and play a role. I think for the challenges that we are working on, there are solutions that need to be contributed, and parts of the solution need to come from the private sector, the public sector, with different policies. I think learning from different best practices, particularly in my work when we think about how do you help individuals prepare for retirement or solve their financial challenges, there are really interesting models across different countries that can be shared. And different governments and policymakers are testing different solutions. The World Economic Forum is doing a lot of work on longevity and helping understand what could be the role of the private sector or different industry groups to help involve that. So for me, I think coming and hearing, learning more, seeing what we can take back to the work that we do is part of it. And then I will shout out to UBS as well. This is one of the examples where Emma was just so helpful in helping us set up this podcast. And we did a panel yesterday. And for my company, that helps with brand building and awareness, and I met individuals yesterday where we will be doing more over the coming year together. And so I think that's the type of opportunity that is very much helpful for me and our company.
Did you have a takeaway already from the last 2 days which surprised you or which you learned?
I have been so inspired by all of the individuals from different parts of the ecosystem, particularly women who are active and ready and working towards solutions to help improve, women's funding gap, women's health issues, products that women need. I think there is a lot of capable, hardworking people coming at this. And so I'm actually very excited for the positive work that can be done despite some of the challenges that we have.
And was funding also a topic what was discussed here?
Yes, I think to quote Emma, there's a funding chasm that exists, and so a lot of solutions were put forward on things that could be done. My personal take is I think we need to have women in a gender-focused lens all the way with the capital that flows down from the pension funds and those who invest in LPs that then invest in investors. In my personal story, I've had a lot of women venture capitalists seek us out, support us. These types of female programs are helping push us forward. And then in my role, our product helps everyone, but it does also really positively impact women. I have a lot of women leaders on my team. And so I think there's a lot of benefit that can happen, but we need to go super to the highest levels and have it trickle down in order to move faster on some of the changes.
Emma, what is your takeaway from the forum, or what did inspire you?
Well, I think, we were speaking in the Equality Lounge. We had a panel yesterday and one today. And yesterday it was very much talking about unlocking investment potential for female founders and the importance of, creating a real ecosystem for women as investors to invest in female-led businesses. We've got this incredible, shift in the ownership and control of wealth by women. That's currently at 35% of total private investable wealth in women's hands. We've also got this great wealth transfer, this demographic shift between the baby boomers and the Gen Z, and that's likely to mean that $9 trillion approximately will be in women's hands over that time. So women as holders of private capital and allocators are significantly changing the landscape. And I think it's, it's not about fixing the women here, it's about fixing the industry to ensure we have the right solutions to ensure that capital flows in the most effective direction.
I wish you a very nice forum, 2 more days, and of course looking forward to see more female founders and also more female founders here on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.